Hello, Happy New Year. Today I'm going to translate directly from a Chinese book about the classical philosophy, about the values of people, of human being. I may stop at once in a while because it may take me a second to think about how to translate, put in the right language. This book was written by a very famous philosopher and professor in China. And also the language he quoted is very classical Chinese, which is very hard to understand even for myself. But he has concluded a few very important things, and which will be very helpful for us to live a life in Western society and help people to understand what is the value of a human. Of course, this book talks about a lot of other things, but today we just focus on the values of people. So this book first talks about people's nature is called the personality. And since the beginning of human beings, people started to think about what is a good personality, what is not. And it started from Confucius. Oh, I don't know how to pronounce this even. And he talked about human nature are similar, but everybody is still different. When it came to the warrior time, people started to, especially the philosophers, started to argue if people's nature are nice or not nice. And the monks, monks is a student of Confucius. He mostly defended the idea that people's nature are good. And later, there's another philosopher called Xunzi, and he thinks people's nature are evil. Compared to monks who said people are much better than animals because people have compassion for other people's problem, and people have ethics. That's why people are much better than animals. While Xunzi talks about people's nature are evil, and only how we bring up the human beings makes them change, become better later. And on the other hand, the Taoism thinks all the discussions above are against the reality. The Taoism proposed by Zhuangzi, he said people have to depend on working, and they think people are the same level as all the animals. We are the same. They don't think people are even above the animals. So all the birds, beasts were at the same level. No one is higher. So it's all different. And then when we talked about the human beings' values, and from the classic philosophy of China, they always think in the whole universe, people are the most precious and most valuable. When I read this, I feel very surprised because I don't necessarily think so, because I've got to know a lot of people who are not necessarily nice or kind. But however, it's worthwhile to study into this, and it talks about why we think people are the most valuable being in the world, as what Confucius said to his student. Because, for example, the water, the fire, they do have some they do have something there, but they don't have a life. Sorry, the picture's gone. I don't know why. Just 1 second, please. Okay, and the music. Here's the music. And then even the grass and the trees, we think if there's grass and trees, they, even though they have a life, but they don't have any knowledge. Okay, I have to start the music from beginning. I can't read without music. And then the beasts, the animals, they know something, but they don't know what is ethics, what is justice. However, human beings are different. Human beings, they have something, and also they have life, they have knowledge, they know a lot, and they know what is good, what is wrong, and they have ethics, they have morals. So that's why human beings are the most valuable things. I think this is the best description about what they said earlier, why human beings are most valuable being in the world. And Monks was the student of Confucius. He explained later on. He said, human beings are higher because what? Let me see. They are precious. People are precious is not because their status or the fame they've got. It's because they have the good nature inside, which cannot be deprived of. And the most essential part is because human beings can have charity, they have justice, they are loyal, they keep promise. Basically, the four good personalities that makes people precious. However, Zhuangzi doubt on the human beings' values. He thought from the perspective of Taoism, nothing is more valuable or nothing is inferior. Because if you look at from the perspective of some other beings rather than human, you always think yourself you're precious. Human beings think themselves are precious. It's just very subjective. It's just from their own perspective. So there's conflict between all the philosophies. Even though Zhuang doubt the values of humans, but he confirmed that individualism is very important. He thinks the best, the highest state of mind is the whole universe are born with a human and together with a human, and it's just one same body. So there's nothing called big or nothing called small. Well, it's very difficult to understand. So I remember I even read an article a long time ago. It's about a very precious person. After he dies, even though he does not possess any material properties, but the whole universe belong to him or her. So even the sky, the stars, the trees, the birds, all flowers, everything are part of his body or her body. So in the traditional Chinese way, traditional, not today, not everybody, a lot of people, they behave very moderately, behave like modesty, in a way of a Confucius. However, inside they use Taoism to look for freedom. Once they have Taoism inside, there are a lot of freedom outside the bindings. Sorry, I don't know how to put in English. I didn't write or prepare anything. I just talk randomly. So it's a different way, but then both philosophies do not. None of them look for a solution of science or other things to solve the problems or constantly try to improve yourself. So they don't do that. They just want to practice the inner side and make it peaceful and free, and then you can handle anything from outside. So this is one thing I talked about, human values from the perspective of classical Chinese philosophy. Thank you.